So as you go through this, one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put images on this, but when you're dealing with it strictly in CSS, you can't just drag and drop images into it, because then the images are permanently, you would have to deal with them on every page. So the way you do that, remember those photo images that we brought in, or photo tags that we brought in, those are one of the ways. You can also, you do not have to use text, or the text you're given, to bring these in. So what we're going to do first is get rid of this and replace it with a piece of graphics or an image. So I have this flawed fruit. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use span tags. And span tags do nothing other than give you a beginning and an ending to delineate something that you're going to hide. I've never seen these used for anything else. So right now I don't have to name them, I don't have to do anything else, I just want to use span. This is one of the times you're going to want to use those compounded IDs. So what I mean by that, if I click on this and then do my new CSS, it's up here under context selector type, it should say compound. And I want to affect the span tag, but only in the title div tag. So that's what this nesting means. It means if there is this tag inside this div tag, then do this to it. All right? So we've delineated that. All I want to do is hide this. So I'm going to go down to positioning. I'm going to change the visibility to hidden. The other thing you can do, some of the older browsers don't recognize the hidden visibility. So the other thing you can do is put negative and then a really big number to move it over. And we're going to apply that. Now if I look at it, that's disappeared now. I have no title, and it's because I hid the text. But remember, I didn't hide the title div tag, I hid the span tag. That's important, and the span tag has to be nested inside of the title tag. So now I'm going to go back. I already had title set up. So I'm going to go back and pull it up. And the trick to doing this, if we want to call it a trick, is that the images come in as background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse, find my title that I set up before. I'm going to set it, for what we're doing, I want my div tag to be exactly the same size as my image. So I'm going to go down to box actually. I can make the width 200, the height 300, and that should work fine. And now the image that I created that has the text exactly the way I want it has showed up. This is still has all the same attributes that I gave the one earlier, but now I've hid the actual text and brought this in as an image. So if I look at it on a browser, it's going to be there, and it's still locked the same, like I said, the same exact context that we had before. Now, the other one that you want to look at is how to put in images by themselves into an empty tag. And they're really just about the same way. So I have 3 of these that are set up, photo 1, 2, 3. I want to go ahead and do a new CSS for them. Now this time I don't need the compounding, so I'm just going to take off main because there's only one photo 1. The reason I did the other is because there was no ID on that span tag, and so if I had just said change the span tags, everywhere you had a span tag it would have hidden them. Probably you may want to put span tags on all of your title, your author, the quote, everything except the body, because the possibility exists that you'll want to replace that with an image. So that's the reason I did that. So I'm going to go in, do the same thing for a background. I have another image, and then I'm going to go down to box. This image is 200 by 200. Okay, if I leave it like this, it's just going to be inside of the text, and it will flow along with wherever it's at. I actually am going to go ahead and take it outside of that and make it absolute. And then, now remember, the photo div tags are nested inside of the main div tag, or the content div tag, or whatever you called the one that has everything else in it. And so these placement are relative to that. So I want it to be, come down from the top a little bit, and then I want it to be outside of the main one. It's 200 wide, so I'm going to make it 210 over. So it's going to go to the edge would be 0. I'm moving it another 210 pixels. So now if we look at that, there's the image that I've just brought in. And if you look at it online on a browser window, that's it. Now, it's not fixed, so it rolls with the text. And I could go ahead and do the other two in different images and space them wherever I wanted them if I wanted to do that too. So that's how to bring in images. You bring them in as background, and you may or may not, if it's an empty div tag, you don't have anything you have to worry about hiding. But if you're replacing text, then you will want to hide or somehow change the visibility of those other pieces.